Greetings to you all! I have been waiting for a chance to get a new TV for my setup for a while now. When suddenly, a few months ago, the image quality of my old 55-inch Samsung started to degrade very rapidly. At the very bottom of the screen, a white flickering line appeared. In addition to that, a huge white spot at the bottom left side of the screen was annoying me very much. When I decided to put the test pattern on the screen, I realized how bad the dirty screen effect was. So I had no other choice but to get a new TV, and after a long consideration I have decided to get a Sony Bravia A95K. Let me share my impressions about the screen, but just before I start, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to this channel, follow me on Instagram, or even consider supporting future videos on Patreon. I have included all links in the description. So, this is Sony XR65A95K. Its maximum resolution is 3840 by 1160 pixels. It's based on organic LED technology, which Sony calls QD-OLED. High dynamic range capability includes HDR10, hybrid lock gamma, and most importantly to me, Dolby Vision. This TV has 4 HDMI inputs. 1 on this side and 3 at the bottom. I will only be using one of them, as in my system all sources are connected to Marantz AV8805A. I need to mention that HDMI 1 or HDMI 2 does not support Dolby Vision. In order to enjoy Dolby Vision, you will have to use HDMI 3 or HDMI 4. Smart features of this TV are implemented through Google TV. But I didn't even enable it, as I'll be using my Apple TV 4K for streaming. I thought that it would be great to have some kind of non-smart TV mode for user who wants to use this TV just as a monitor. Unfortunately, there is no such option. Another cool feature is Acoustic Surface Audio Plus. There are 2 large actuators which vibrate and turn the entire screen into the speaker. This technology is way better than regular TV speakers, which usually produce poor quality sound. It is possible to link this TV with Sony HT-A9 Spatial Sound Home Theater System. This would turn your TV into a center speaker in your home theater, which is quite an interesting feature. For those of you who use AV receivers in your system, there is also a possibility to turn this TV into a center channel speaker. You just have to connect the center speaker output of your receiver to the center speaker in terminal on the TV. This option is great for small or medium home theater setups. However, if you are using more powerful or higher class speakers in your home theater, this feature might not work for you that well. The difference between the main speakers and your center channel will be too noticeable. If I worked out correctly, the overall power output of the acoustic surface is 60 watts. For reference, Yamo D6 LCR, which I use in my system, can produce 250 watts. There won't be any tone matching either. So I just decided to skip and not to use this feature. One thing that was worrying me was the glossy surface of the screen. In my living room, the TV hangs right in front of the window. That creates a problem with glare and reflections. The old Samsung was almost like a mirror. I've always needed to shut the curtains so I could properly enjoy the movie without getting annoyed by unwanted reflections on the screen. I was relieved to see that Sony reduced the reflective ability of the A95K screen surface to almost a minimum. I can still see reflections of bright objects, but they are so insignificant that they don't distract me at all. And if lights in the living room are dimmed, the screen looks completely black. There was one tricky moment while I was setting this TV up. In my setup, the main video source is Apple TV, which is connected to the Marantz AV8805A surround processor/preamplifier. It took me a few hours to figure out how to enable Dolby Vision, and the solution was a bit counterintuitive. So, long story short, I knew that I needed high bandwidth HDMI cables, so I bought a few different brands in case some of them would not be compatible. I linked all three devices with brand new cables, enabled enhanced 4K signal format in my Marantz menu, selected Dolby Vision in Apple TV, and it did not work. I was a little bit confused as what might be the cause, so I started troubleshooting. First of all, I decided to connect Apple TV directly, and Dolby Vision worked just fine. This fact led me to the conclusion that Dolby Vision is not passed through the Marantz. I have tried changing all possible HDMI settings, tried all possible variation, but it did not help. I started thinking that overall lengths of HDMI cables might be causing the signal loss. So I tried using the shortest cables that I had in my possession. But still there was no Dolby Vision. And then it was time to Google my problem. I was not the only one who had this problem when Dolby Vision worked directly, but it did not work while passing through the receiver. In the end, it turns out that the reason was not my Marantz AV8805A or HDMI cables. The reason was Sony A95K settings. It turns out that I needed to enable enhanced mode on TV input to which my Marantz was connected. The fact that Dolby Vision worked when Apple TV was directly connected confused me. I'm not sure why enhanced settings are not enabled by default. My overall impressions about this TV are exceptionally positive. I'm really happy with its performance. Colors are very natural. If the movie is bright and vivid, it looks bright and vivid on the screen. If the movie is dark with lots of details in the shadows, you will definitely won't miss them. Therefore, if you want to see the movie as it was intended by the film director, this would be a great TV to achieve that. So this is it. Don't forget to like this video if you find it useful. Every new subscription is much appreciated too. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye!